Good afternoon. Here is the national news from our studio, BGI TV, Baba Bagadi Imo TV. First are the major headlines. Wole Soyinka criticizes special permission required to enter Nigeria. FBI indictments, no formal extradition request for Habakari, says IGP. Elumelu Kijo Davido orders call on world leaders to donate pledged COVID-19 vaccines. Residents flee as suspected Boko Haram terrorists attack Borno community. PDP governors hold closed-door meeting with Mimiko. And to sports, Igalo may return as Raul finalizes squad for Qatar 2020 qualifiers. Now the news in details. Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka decried the immigration processes required to enter Nigeria from Europe. The literary icon, during a press briefing in Lagos, said he was stopped from boarding a flight at the Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris because he didn't have a special document. I had my vaccination. I have taken the 72-hour COVID test. I was negative, but there was there was a new one called PCR, which the Nigerian government had begun to insist on, he said. He was also asked to fill a questionnaire which he said bore little relation to COVID-19. Soyinka said the tedious process had led to many Nigerians lying in couches at the airport, unable to proceed with their journey into Nigeria. He said, I don't believe that I should require, or any Nigerian should require, a special permission to enter his or our own country, he said.
Thanks to the plane, I was told I couldn't get on. I had my vaccination. I'd taken the 72-hour COVID test, and I was negative. But apparently there was one more. There was a new one called PCR. Is that correct? I don't even know these initials. Anyway, which the Nigerian government had begun to insist upon. Now, I was away from the country at the time. I didn't know this. I thought I was all geared up. I couldn't get on that plane. I had to go back into Paris. And the test, by then the offices had closed or whatever. Anyway, I spent 3 extra days in Paris before I could get back on, after taking the test and getting my result. 3 days. I did not complain. I didn't invite you to chat with you. I felt it's okay. That's my fault. I should have known. Maybe not, but I felt I should have known. But it's happened a second time, just about a week ago. This time I had my PCR, or whatever it's called, and of course I still remained vaccinated, and exactly the same thing happened to me. And of course, it did not happen to me alone. There were other Nigerians who passed the night at the airport. They couldn't leave the airport because they'd already passed immigration. But at the gate, they were also turned back. This time, it was not PCR or whatever it's called. It was that they had not gone to something called the Nigerian Travel Portal and obtained permit to travel. Well, again, it was my turn. I said, I've got everything. I've got PCR, etc. They said, no, there was one more item which the Nigerian government now required. Of course, others were again similarly affected. So I had to go back into Paris. And then I was directed where to go through this machine here and pay the necessary amount, and then permission will be generated from Nigeria so that I could travel back to my own country. All right. I rebooked. Following morning, I was back at Air France. At the hotel, we tried to get onto this portal. We could not.
Inspector General of Police IGP Usman Alkali Baba says he is yet to see or receive a formal extradition request for Deputy Commissioner of Police, DCP, Mr. Habak Kyari, following his indictment by a U.S. court. Kyari had earlier in the year been accused of being a conspirator in a $1.1 million fraud deal involving Instagram celebrity Ramon Abbas, popularly known as Osh Poppy. Giving an update on the case, IGP Alkali Baba disclosed that he had only heard it on social media, stressing that there was no extradition request as some have reported. The Inspector General further explained that the panel constituted to investigate the case has submitted its report to the Secretary General of the Federation SDF, Boss Mustafa, for vetting and advice on the findings. He added that the force has only just received feedback from the SDF and is contemplating the next step to take. The police chief's comments is the latest on the controversial issue in spite of the warrants issued by a U.S. magistrate George Ortiz Wright ordering the arrest of Kyari.
General asserts that there's been no extradition request.
But I have read it from the social media that there was an extradition request. I have not seen it, I've not heard it formally. We've just received the legal advice from the Office of the Attorney General, and we are working on what to do next.
While affirming that investigations have been concluded and finally submitted, noted that the President Muhammadu Buhari will have the final consideration on the matter. As the world continues to grapple with the COVID-19 pandemic, some prominent Africans have joined their voices to calls for more vaccine for the continent. Nigerian entrepreneur Teni Elumelu, business beanies singer and songwriter Angelique Kidjo, and Nigerian pop star David Adeleke, aka Davido, were among 48 UNICEF African ambassadors and supporters who recently signed a letter to leaders of more wealthy countries to honor their promises to urgently deliver excess doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. According to the agency, wealthy countries with more supplies than they need are generously pledged to donate those doses to low and middle income countries via COVAX, but the promised doses are moving too slowly. Of the 1.3 billion additional doses countries have pledged to donate, only 356 million doses have been provided to COVAX. UNICEF Executive Director Henrietta Fore said, adding that African countries in particular have largely been left without access to COVID-19 vaccines. Less than 5% of the African population are fully vaccinated, leaving many countries at high risk of further outbreaks. Suspected Boko Haram terrorists on Thursday launched a surprise attack in Damboa local government area of Borno State. Confirming the accident and the incident, local government officials said the attack started at about 5:34 p.m. Earlier reports indicates that the insurgents stormed the local government's headquarters where most of the villages were shot, live shooting heavily artillery. The situation forced people to scamper for safety and remain indoors as the shooting continued, according to an official. The shootings have stopped, but we are still indoors because we don't know what will happen next. We can only get details in the coming if they don't come back for us again tonight, as Sop said. It is not clear if there are any casualties, but villagers believe the attack targeted a mobile police base in the town. Today's attack is the second in 2 weeks, according to the villagers. You're watching the national news at BGI TV, and we'll continue in a moment with the next story. 4 serving People's Democratic Party PDP governors have met behind closed doors with the former governor of Ondo State, Dr. Segun Mimiko. The governors were Sheyi Makinde of Oyo, Yesom Wiki of Rivers, Okeze Ikpeazu of Abia, and Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto. Other politicians present for the meeting, which the immediate past Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Agbola Ajayi, former member of House of Reps, Ondo State House of Assembly, Jumoke Akindele, former governorship aspirant, Banji Okuomo, former Chief George of Ondo State, Olasunde Kumuyi, Chief of Staff to Mimiko, Kola Ademujimi, and other top politicians in Ondo State. Speaking with journalists after the closed-door meeting, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Aminu Tambuwal, noted that the governors were in the state to consult with Dr. Mimiko over their plans to win him back into the PDP and embark on an agenda he termed the Rescue Nigeria project. Mimiko commended the governors for the visit, noting that he will consult further with his associates and supporters and make public his next line of action. regarding the possibility of rejoining the party. Sokoto suspected Boko Haram on Thursday, lynched as the story has it. Then we'll go to the sports story. Former Manchester United striker Odion Ighalo, who quit the Super Eagles after the Egypt 2019 African Cup of Nations, may take a surprise return to the team. Sources close to the Super Eagles manager General Raw said that Ighalo, who now plays in Saudi Arabia for Al-Shabaab, is among the players being considered for Nigeria's last group matches against Liberia and Cape Verde. Officials of the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) and coach Raw have not made secret of their desires to have the former Watford star back in the national team, even when he insists he's done with the international football. Ighalo, a striker, was Nigeria's top marksman at the Russia 2018 World Cup, where some pundits points at his misses as responsible for the country's first-round ouster. Ighalo led the scoring chart at the Egypt 2019 African Cup of Nations, where Nigeria finished with the bronze medal. The Eagles lead Group C with 9 points from 4 matches, 2 points better than the Crocodiles of Cape Verde, who they host on November 14, 2021. And before we call it a wrap on today's national news, let us have the headlines once again. Wole Soyinka criticizes special permission required to enter Nigeria. FBI indictment. No formal extradition request for Abba Kyari, says IGP. Lumelu, Kijo, Davido orders call on world leaders to donate COVID-19 pledge vaccines. Residents flee as suspected Boko Haram terrorists attack Borno community. PDP governors hold closed-door meeting with Mimiko and to sports. Ighalo may return as Raw finalizes squad for Qatar 2022 qualifiers. Thank you for watching. We have 3 social media handles which you can link up with for more updates of our programs. On YouTube, Babakbagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell for more updates. I'm on Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like the page and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For markets and advert placement or coverage of your events and officials gathering, please call on the marketing department 07038226160. I am yours faithfully, Rabila Lawal, Jumat Mufida, to all brothers, Muslims, sisters.